Hello, hello, hello. I'm loving the little stream beat music that we've got going along there. That is the little theme tune that I am dancing and swaying away to. Stream beats, yeah, that's how we can pipe in music and not be arrested for it. Yay! Hello, everyone. This is very exciting. I'm back. This is number 2, and it's going to go perfectly technology-wise, which I've just cursed myself by saying. Yes, Josh is straight in there. He wants the quotes. He's like, give me quotes now. Welcome to Top Treks, where I invite a person or people on to my little laptop to discuss their top 5 Star Trek things. They get to choose a thing and count down their top 5 of them. So today we've got Alan Kemp, and he is going to count down his top 5 favourite quotes. Now, this is a great one. This is like everyone has their own Star Trek favourite quotes. I do. I am glad that I get to come on here and bring people with me and get them to answer the questions for me, because there's absolutely no way I'm going to be able to tell you my top 5 favourite Star Trek quotes. I just don't know. There are so many of them. So I want Alan to try and guide me through the world and tell me his, and I'll see if I agree. I want to know yours as well. What comes to mind? What comes to mind when you think of Star Trek quotes? Put in the chat box. I want to see my screen filled with beautiful, beautiful Star Trek quotes before we get to Alan's 5 choices. I have been thinking this about a little bit. As we go through, I'll maybe kind of throw some out at you. Hello, computer. Okay, there it is. That is it. Like number 1 for me. Hello, computer. It's just the most perfect, beautiful moment in the most perfect, beautiful film that there is. But there's many, many more. So if you have a favourite Star Trek quote, put in the little chat box. Or just say hello. Even maybe you don't have a favourite Star Trek quote. Maybe you're just literally my mum and just watching this, because she does, It's sweet. So say, well, actually, she can't say hello. She doesn't know how it works. She watches it. Doesn't know how to type, though. Never mind. Hi, mum. But if you are watching and you are in a position where you can access a keyboard and type words, then type lovely words to me and Alan to say hello. So hello, Josh, and oh, there's Simon as well over on Twitch. Hello, and now we're going to get started. We are going to get started because we don't have long to count down 5 top Star Trek quotes. Alan has been working hard at this. I'm not going to introduce him. I'm going to get him to introduce himself. So please welcome to my little virtual stage, to my little holodeck orbiting the Earth, Alan Kemp. Hello, Alan.
Hello. Hiya. I'm Alan. By day, I am a lab manager at the Edinburgh Cancer Research Centre, and by night, I am, well, a massive nerd. And anything related to video games, board games, anything game related, I gamify my exercise routine at the moment as well. So yeah, massive nerd.
Amazing. And everyone comes better dressed than me as well. You've got your little uniform going. Chris and Dan last week as well. Like, put me to shame. I think I'm literally in the same t-shirt as I was last week, but I own multiple of them because it's just too cute.
Yeah, I mean, dressed for the occasion because I think 3 of tonight's quotes are going to reference doctors. So there you
Nice.
go.
Now, before we get to any of your choices, was it easy to make a top 5?
No. I mean, I took a lot of the stuff that I've collected over the 20 odd years that I've been a Star Trek fan, and then I also looked at other people's favorites, and by the end of it, I had something like 47 quotes that I really liked. 47 ironic reference to Voyager fans, which you may or may not get. But yeah, it was tough to narrow it down, so I had to set some criteria. I was not allowed to quote the same person twice. I was not allowed to go into the same series twice. And that, yeah, really still made it a little bit easier, but I still ended up with quite a few more quotes than I wanted to. So I tried to go for the less obvious choice each time around.
Which is nice. I like that we got like a mix of series as well, because in all honesty, when I thought someone was going to choose their top 5 quotes, it was just going to be 5 quotes from their favorite like episode or series. So it's nice that we got a spread. I am surprised. In fact, I won't say because it will spoil what's coming up. And I will count down what surprises I am surprised at or not. Maybe I think your choices are the most logical ones that I'd have thought of. They're not. Like, no one's going to expect to see what you. No one is going to have anticipated your top 5. I don't think. I'm trying to think how many of them are guessable. I would say one. One of them is guessable, I think. I think the other 4, and they are amazing, but maybe overlooked in their amazingness. So no one has put any quotes in the chat box. I'm very disappointed. You're all watching though, so hello. If you're just joining us, we're counting down Alan's top 5 Star Trek quotes, and I want to know what your quotes are. I've already said that "Hello Computer" is like right on up there because it's just like the most perfect on-screen moment that has ever happened in the history of anything. But apparently there are other good quotes, and that's what we're going to start off with. So, Alan, you've made 5 choices.
Yep.
We're going to start off with number 5 and build up to your favorite one. So, set the scene for us on this one. Don't give away the quote because we've got a clip of it.
Yep.
But maybe set the scene. Tell us what's happening, why this is amazing.
Well, the first quote that I have is from maybe a slightly overlooked Doctor. It's from Beverly Crusher in one of her very own episodes, the episode "Remember Me," and it's just one of the quotes that hit me the first time I heard it, for a very obvious reason, because you can only hear it in Star Trek. I don't think there's another series you could possibly hear it at.
Let's have a look.
If there's nothing wrong with me, maybe there's something wrong with the universe.
I mean, it struck me immediately as something, especially in these days where we have computers that can probably outperform, be outperformed by Siri, versus the enterprise computer that has diagnosed Crusher as being sane, essentially. And she says, "There's nothing wrong with me, so clearly there must be something wrong with the universe." I think the best way to describe that quote is with another quote from Picard, "The sheer fucking hubris." I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a sentence I don't think you can hear in another series.
I adore Beverly Crusher. She is just phenomenal, and like I love her music. If there's nothing wrong with me, there isn't. She's perfect. I
Yes.
mean, obviously, it has to be the universe. There is not a possible flaw that Dr. Crusher has. And so,
And
is
it's,
that
yeah,
like one of your favorite episodes, or is it just like that moment, that kind of like encapsulation of that phrase that you think, yeah, I love it?
it's a brilliant concept. Just kind of, a shrinking universe, people vanishing all around you. You're struggling to kind of to get a concept. And yeah, I mean, it's really reaching for it. Well, if there's nothing wrong with me, something's wrong with the universe. I mean, sure. Not sure if I'd ever jumped to that particular conclusion. But yeah, and I mean, the follow-up quote, which is where she's asking to define the universe. The computer answers, "The universe is a spheroid region 705 meters in diameter." You kind of thought, yeah, not going to say that anytime soon either. It's a brilliant episode.
It is, despite having quite a lot of Wesley Crusher in it. But we'll gloss over
Well,
that.
you may not like Wesley, I do.
Well, I know where my dislike comes from. It is pure and utter jealousy and bitterness. I hold my hands up, like, Wesley and Will Wheaton. Okay, he is fun and cool and stuff, but I'm still jealous because it should have been me. Should have been me.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. But yeah, I kind of lived that experience through him a little bit. So being the one person that's always nosy and getting involved in things and things like that, yeah, I kind of could empathize with him quite a bit.
Excellent. So we've got our first quote. I've got, "If there's nothing wrong with me, there must be something wrong with the universe." Absolutely classic, and an ethos to live your life by. Really, that is some top confidence there. So we're switching series. We're switching series with every quote. Before we jump into this next quote, do you have a favorite series?
I think DS9 is still beating everything else out for me. It was just a fantastic melting pot for everything, and some of the best characters as well. Overall, I mean, every series has got its highlights. I've got my favorite episodes in pretty much every single series, with perhaps, yes, exactly, Josh. I am very, very in agreement with you on that. If I could, I would have just chosen quotes from In the Pale Moonlight because that's a fantastic episode.
Probably shouldn't say this running
Um,
this little Star Trek thing. Like Deep Space Nine, like it's fine. But in all honesty, whenever Ezri Dax appears, like in a rewatch, Ezri Dax appears, I drift, and I genuinely, hand on heart, do not know if I've actually finished DS9. I have persevered with it the whole way, and I've still got I tried to do it on Netflix. I thought, right, I need to make sure I've seen every episode, and I stopped at the last episode. So I've still got the last episode of TNG to watch, and I genuinely don't know if I've ever seen it. So that's bad.
Well,
Anyway,
I have a confession there to make because I did pretty much the same thing with Discovery. I had to really catch up very quickly just to watch all of the rest of it because I kind of suffered through the first two series. And then the third one, I am starting to enjoy it a little bit more now, the last couple of episodes, I have to say.
I mean, yeah, season 3 of Discovery, I am all on board with. Season 2, I honestly can't remember it. Anyway, your next quote is not from Discovery or from DS9. Tell us about this one.
So this one is a quote from Picard, and because I had to set myself one quote from one character, Picard's got so many good ones, so many discussing time and how important it is to live in the moment, to make everything of every single moment. And it would have been easy to go for one of those, but this is a slightly different one. This is a quote from the new series Picard, from the first episode, Remembrance. And I think it's a quite important one in our current times.
So I don't have a clip of this one, so I'm gonna ask for your best performance of it.
Yeah. So this quote comes from the interview that Picard does for the Federation News Network with a, shall we say, slightly antagonistic interviewer, and he's just been asked about his involvement in organizing the Romulan evacuation in face of the supernova. And he said that, but the Federation understood there were millions of lives at stake. And the interviewer specifies Romulan lives. And Picard answers, no, lives. And in a very Picard way, I cannot do Patrick Stewart justice. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't even want to begin to try. But it's such a Picard moment. It's such a simple line, but very emphatic. No, not just Romulan lives, lives.
And I think it was really setting up the ethos of Picard as well. I mean, they knew exactly what they were doing, and especially at the time that it was made.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it reflects the ethos of, I'd say, Star Trek overall. Seek out new life and new civilizations doesn't mean we're going to specify and quantify which lives are worth more than others. I think it was something very important for him to highlight, something that the Federation, or at least Starfleet, seems to have forgotten in that particular time and moment. And I think it's something that was very important to highlight in these times where we always seem to be faced with people trying to highlight the other, to try and split people apart, to make you seem, somebody is getting preferential treatment, or you should be getting something more than other people. And to insert it in this particular interview in this way was just, I just absolutely loved it. And it was really one of the standout moments for the entire series, I would say, even.
And made so much more powerful as well, because this is like one of the first moments that we're really seeing in Picard. It's been brought back after all this time. Fans are desperate for it. We're asking, what is this series going to be? And one of the first moments is him sitting down, and this really, the way he does it, slowly, calmly, powerful, beautiful.
Yeah, and it's overall the entire interview. He's, well, up until a certain point where he may have lost his temper, but he's always kind of, when he's rebutting the interview, he's doing it in a very specific way that I absolutely enjoyed.
So that's our second choice. We've got fifth place was Crusher, Something Wrong with the Universe. Fourth place, we've got Picard, Not Romulan Lives. Let's move now to another series. And I think I've lost the chat function. We'll carry on anyway. I want to pick up on one of Josh's points. The Drumhead. I was actually surprised. Spoiler, but Drumhead is not there. It's not in your choices. I was kind of surprised that was the case. Sorry, while I type as well. So let's.
Yeah,
let's just think. Let's move on to our next one. So let's move on to your third choice then.
Yeah. So the third one, I definitely wanted to include a quote from Janeway. One that it's difficult because I found the the writing in Voyager was sometimes lacking, and it was difficult to specify a specific moment that I really enjoyed. But I think this is one from not necessarily one of the best episodes, but one of the moments that I think Kate Mulgrew really enjoyed acting. I think it just shines through in this moment.
Let's have a look.
Starfleet captains don't easily succumb to fear.
What will become of us? Of me?
Like all fear, you eventually vanish.
I'm afraid.
I know.
Dread.
I mean, everything the woman says is just phenomenally well delivered, though.
Yeah, I mean, I should have probably put this into context. Janeway in this episode is faced with basically a manifestation of fear and has to bring out her crew, and manages to trick fear via a holographic version of herself. And the fact that this is actually, when you think about it, this is not actually Janeway. It's a hologram of Janeway being incredibly sassy. So just the fact that Janeway took the time to tell whoever programmed that particular hologram to just put some sass into it, just really sells it to me. And also, as I said, just the fact that Kate Mulgrew, it's just, I just love the line delivery. It's just perfect in that particular moment.
And even just that, I'm spoilers if you've not seen it, but that is the very end of the episode as well. Like that fade out to black that we saw, and then the credits roll, and just it's such a powerful ending to an episode. Just that quietly diminishing aspect of fear to blackness. Brilliant. Excellent. Let's move on. So we've had Next Generation and Crusher got a quote. We had Picard and Picard with his lives. Then we've just had Janeway conquering fear. All solid choices. The one that I thought might have been there, the one that I think is guessable and a popular one, the Crusher one. So in at number 5. So I don't think either of your next two choices are likely guesses. Certainly no one's put in the chat box if they have guessed them. But if you're watching, then let us know what you think. If there's a quote that you love, get it in the chat box. I want to see as many excellent Star Trek quotes as we can as we continue our countdown of Alan's top 5 quotes. So let's move from Voyager to your favorite series. Let's delve into DS9, and there can only really be one person to get a quote from DS9. Tell us who it is and what are we talking about.
Again, he's had a number of very good quotes. Actually, quite a few of them in the same episode from which this one is from. So it's of course Garak, everybody's favorite, and I totally agree with Dan and Chris from last episode, because they also agreed with me on that one. It's just one of those moments that's just stood out, because once we played the story. It's just so obvious. You kind of thought, why has nobody actually pointed this out way sooner? So just to set the scene on this, Bashir and Garak are having a discussion, and Bashir has just told Garak the story of the boy who cried wolf.
Well, that's a little graphic for children, wouldn't you say? But the point is, if you lie all the time, nobody's going to believe you. Even when you're telling the truth. Are you sure that's the point, Doctor? Of course. What else could it be? That you should never tell the same lie twice.
Garak and his mic drop moment.
He's got so many of them, and also the interaction between Bashir and Garak is always top-notch. Be their cultural discussions, just highlighting the different worldviews of the Federation and the Cardassians, and also just the way they clash. And Andrew Robinson's acting is always just, oh yes, it just hits the spot every single time. And also his view on truth, shall we say? And I think he's got another line in this particular episode, is that the truth is normally just an excuse for lack of imagination, which I always just find, yeah, sure, if you can't get away with it.
I mean, like, I love as well that, like, this is episode 2 of Top Treks, and already Garrick has featured in both. I kind of love that. I think he's a character that completely grows on you as well. Like, the more you go back to him again and again and again, you realize just how genius every line out his mouth is.
Yeah, and quite often, I mean, he's kind of an antagonist, but not really. He's in such a grey area that you sometimes want to hate him, but you just can't bring yourself to. He's just, yeah, he's fantastic. I absolutely love him. I mean, I think I mentioned this last time round. Andrew Robertson has written a book on Garrick called Stitch in Time, if I remember right. I've not managed to get my hands on it yet, but I definitely want to, because just the way he's acted, he must know exactly how to write him as well.
And we're going to quickly come on to your top choice. And by way of introduction for this, I want to say, like, so I mentioned that Garrick is one of those characters that grows on you. Your top quote comes from a character who I feel has done the same for me. When I watched Star Trek as a kid, I grew up and he was there. He is obviously, this person that's going to give us a quote, obviously an important character. But as time has gone on and I've rewatched, I think he is one of my favourite actors of all time, and I would dearly love to meet this man. He seems like just such a wonderful, caring human being as well. So tell us, now I've had a little bit of a build-up. This character has grown on me over the years to become one of the absolute pinnacles of Star Trek. Who is it, and what quote are we about to hear?
It's, of course, Leonard Bones McCoy, and who's on. I'm wearing this particular shirt today. Just from the get-go, this particular episode, which is Balance of Terror from the original series, it was one of the first episodes that I ever saw, and it just stood out to me. And I mean, the best way to describe him is a grumpy git, which, hi, guilty. So I can completely empathize with him. And unrelated, to be honest, these exact words that he's saying just struck me, especially, I mean, I heard them when I was 13, 14 years old, I think, and they just resonated with me, and they stuck with me ever since. And yeah, I mean, overall, it's an absolutely fantastic episode. There's other quotes which I'm going to highlight afterwards, but this one is the one that just really defines for me this particular episode.
So the ultimate grumpy git, but he cares. He cares so very, very much. Classic McCoy and classic episode. Here we go.
In this galaxy, there's a mathematical probability of 3 million Earth-type planets. And in all of the universe, 3 million galaxies like this. And in all of that, and perhaps more, only one of each of us. Don't destroy the one named Kirk.
Beautiful.
I just absolutely love that moment. DeForest Kelley acting it brilliantly. And its message just, you're unique. And it's something, it's something to preserve. It's always resonated with me, especially as somebody, who kind of always has been the oddball out, who's, as a kid, always trying desperately to fit in, and to hear something like that, and you kind of go, maybe I shouldn't have to fit in. Maybe I can just be that odd little person that I want to be. And I first heard this particular quote in German, where it's considerably bumpier. But then when I heard it in English, it's just something. It's definitely one of those that I could quote to you, no problem, anytime, anywhere. Absolute favorite.
Good choice. Yeah. And so we've reached the end of your choices. So let's just remind everyone of what they were. So in fact, just count down your top 5 quotes for us. What were they? Where were they from?
So number 5 was Beverly Crusher from the Next Generation episode Remember Me. If there's nothing wrong with me, there must be something wrong with the universe. The fourth one was Jean-Luc Picard in Picard episode Remembrance, rebutting the comment from the interview Romulan Lives, no lives. Catherine Janeway on number 3 from Voyager to Thaw, arguing with fear. Like all fear, you eventually vanish. I'm afraid. I know. Just in that perfect Kate Mulgrew. Wait. Number 2, Elim Garak and his particular interpretation of the story of the boy who cried wolf. Absolutely love. Good dear Elim. And finally, Leonard Bones McCoy about his quote on how everybody is unique in all of the universe. And it's just, a fantastic quote from all Star Trek.
Brilliant. Alan, thank you so much for joining me. I don't know what ones I've done. I think another one that would make it into my top 5, I think, would be This Far, No Further. Again, classic Picard, so powerfully delivered. So much of the movie is iconic dialogue. I
know. I mean, there was one quote which I was very tempted to put in, Deanna's quote from First Contact, which I know you absolutely love, about time. I'll let you do that particular quote.
Let me try and get it as right as I can. Timeline. This is no time to be talking about time. We haven't got the time. Something like that.
Pretty much. Yes, you're right. I mean, as I said, there's so many of them. From Deanna to I've had a couple of them written down. Even, I mean, as far as one-liners are concerned, Discovery is absolutely the master of it. Be it comments about tween menaces, and their sudden obsession of the 2 last series of both Picard and Discovery with cake. We have 2 quotes on cake in there, which really struck me very oddly because I just reviewed those episodes back to back and it just stood out for some reason. And yes, as also somebody pointed out, the DS9 episode, In the Pale Moonlight, is just full of good stuff. I absolutely love that episode.
Well, Alan, congratulations on being able to limit yourself down to 5 choices. It's been an absolute joy to hear you chat through them and share the love of Star Trek and quotes. So thank you very much for being the second ever Top Trek and sharing your quotes with us.
You're very welcome. I absolutely love it.
So we will say goodbye to you now, Alan, and I will wrap up things. So for now, Alan, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you follow Alan on Twitter as well. His handle's on screen, but also I'll have tweeted it out anyway. Thank you very much, and Alan, for now, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
So thank you very much to everyone who has joined us as well, who's watching along, to Andrew and Josh is commenting along. Next week, we'll be back. It's down at the bottom of the screen there with Alfredo. And Alfredo has been picking out his top 5 philosophy next week as we ask ourselves the big questions which Star Trek is so famed for. Again, I don't know what I would pick. What episodes do you think are going to be in the top philosophy episodes of Star Trek? We're going to find out with Alfredo next week. So please do join me on Twitter and on YouTube and on Twitch for that. Thank you very, very much for joining in. And I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.